This episode of What If It's Cool is brought to you by Respro Clothing. Respro Clothing, where you can get the latest merchandise from all the stars, including Luke Resner, Som, Savannah Rowe, Nova Nichols, and my personal favourite, Conflict Axiom. So make sure you check out Respro Clothing. You can find them on Facebook and on Instagram. Hello and welcome to another episode of What If It's Cool, the show where we talk about anything and everything that is cool in the world today. I am naughty by nature, not because I hate you, Daniel Paul Crow. On this episode, I finally get to sit down and interview someone who I love and respect and, well, am scared of. I am talking, of course, of Vixsin. We talk about how she got into the world of professional wrestling, and we just get to know each other, and trust me, she's absolutely an amazing person. So sit back, relax, and enjoy violence, rap, and gardening with Vixsin. Thank you so much for being part of the show. We finally made it. It's after almost 2 years of trying to get you on the show, back when this was a 4-piece, so I do appreciate you being on the show. I wanted to firstly ask, because you were on the very first show that I ever got to see at PCW, and the person escapes me who you were based in, but I mean this in the most respectful way imaginable. You came out, and I said this straight out of my mouth. I came, who is this beast? And I thought, because obviously that this is during a time, this is like 2010, 2011. It was different for a female wrestler, and immediately from the moment the bell rang, you were just fantastic, and I've been a fan ever since. And
I think that was a pretty high compliment. Like back in the day, like there's not many female wrestlers around. Now I think there's myself, Michelle, and a few others from Sydney that's around. It was a different world. Like a lot of people ask me, how did you last so long? I'm like, well, I love wrestling, so I just, like if you wouldn't recognize me when I first started. I was so timid, I was very shy, I was very like drawn into myself. But now if I see something or someone's bullying someone, I just call that out, because that happened to me when I was younger, and there was no one around to have a voice for me. So yeah, I just kind of copped it, dealt with it. It was a very different world.
Very. I've heard stories of a lot of female wrestlers back in the day, and it's so different now. And God, you're amazing to live through that and still be doing it now.
Oh, thank you. It wasn't easy, but I'm still here. So,
well, how exactly did you get into wrestling? Where did you go to study?
So I first started training at George Julio's gym in Sunshine, with NAW. Was training there for a very long time. I always wanted to go to PCW because I'd always go on their website and see, like, in the index section, female wrestlers wanted. I'm like, Mum, take me here. And she said, no, it's too far, because we were living in Melton at the time.
Oh, wow.
So from Melton to Bayswater is, a bit of a drive, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
I said, I'll get the train. I really want to go. Basically, I wasn't allowed, which is annoying, because I would have started training at the age of 14 instead of 16. So basically one day I seen some guys putting a sign on a roundabout in Melton saying wrestling tonight. I'm like, what is this? So I nagged my mum, can I go? So eventually my sister took me. And I can remember bits and pieces from the show, but I can remember asking someone, I think it was at the door, can I please speak to the trainer, because I want to start training. And then I can remember, sorry, the cat's going a bit nuts.
That's all right. we love animals on What If It's Cool.
Good. I can remember George Julio coming out in his, 80s tracksuit, matching tracksuit, and you want to train? I said, yeah. He says, you want to be the best? I said, of course. He says, I'll see you next Friday at 2 p.m. I said, okay, no worries. So, and then the rest is history.
Wow, that would have been a sight for sore eyes. I just like pictured in my head of him in a tracksuit and just. Hey, did he have a gold chain around his neck as well when he came out to you?
Like he was a lot buffer back then. This is 20 years ago or
Mm.
21 years ago, I'd say. And I'm like, what is this world? Like it was so different to watching it on TV. And I just straight away wanted to do it. I can remember my first training session, come home, had a shower, and I was just sitting in bed like this. Oh my God, everything hurts. My head hurts. How am I going to be able to walk? But I was just so happy. Nothing else mattered.
Wow. Talk me through that first training session. When was it that you got bit by the bug? Was it instantly or just after you took your first bump?
Instantly, even like before I went to training. So I watched wrestling for a very long time. My bedroom was just wall to wall in wrestling photos. Um, and then one side obviously had music posters and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was just straight away, I knew it's exactly what I wanted to do. And for me, if I've got something in my head and I want it, I'll get it. It doesn't matter how hard I have to work.
All right. Good way to think. Good way to think and good way to live life. Now, how long before you started before you did debuted?
Oh, so I started training 2000, 2002, 2003. It took me about a year to get a Rumble match.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then I was in, Rumbles, managing and whatnot. But my first match was a tag match. So it probably took me about 2 years, only because there was no females in that promotion at all. There was just myself.
Mm.
And I think in Melbourne at the time, there was just three other females. There was Mercury, or known as Charmaine from PCW, Eden from PCW or PWA, Vita Loca, and Tanil. That was it. There was no one else. And they were all kind of like in different
Wow.
promotions. Eventually George said, let's give the girl a go. She comes to training, she helps with the ring, she does this. So I was absolutely excited. I couldn't believe I was having a match, but it was just crazy. And then I didn't have a match for another 8 months. So my first singles match was against Michelle K. Hasluck in Sunshine for NAW. And
Mm.
that was crazy. She was the first female in wrestling I wrestled. Um, she was great. She just gave me so much advice. I didn't even I asked her a little bit, but she's just guiding me. That's exactly what I needed at that time,
Mm.
is someone to help guide me through it, because I didn't know what the going on. Like the guys couldn't tell me, certain wardrobe things that you should be wearing and not wearing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a very long time ago. I can't really remember the match. All I remember is my finisher was a twist of fate.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
And I look back now, like, how embarrassing.
What's embarrassing about having a twist of fate for a finish? It's a good move. It pops.
But at the time, like the Hardy Boys and Lita were very popular.
Yeah.
And I'm just, yeah, but nah, yeah, it was either that or a bulldog.
So there, that I think that would be the embarrassing one. Bulldog, I don't know. It's stock standard now. It's not like the '60s where it looked really embarrassing now because like a lot of people do it. It's not, you know.
I occasionally do a bulldog, like if it makes sense, because I still think it's a cool move, but it's not a finisher.
Yeah, no, definitely not. So as you keep progressing in your career, did you find that you were getting more matches with men, or it's just if there was a girl in that particular promotion, you were just only going for them?
So I trained with guys from day one. It took me a while because back then it was different. You had to wrestle females. If there was a mixed tag or intergender match, it would be against a cross dresser at the time.
Okay.
Like there was moments that he would, come out dressed like a female and whatnot. But yeah, it was very hard to get females to stay. So I can remember after one show. Sorry, the cat's going. Stop it.
It's all right.
After one, this small girl come up to me. She's like, "Hey, I want to start training. Who do I ask?" And I'm like, and at the time this was Lowe's, and I don't know if you've heard of her or know of her. And I'm like, "Yeah, no worries. I'll get my trainer straight away." And then soon after that, she started training, and we wrestled each other at least 300 times. Every match was different. With me, you won't ever see two matches the same. But I've seen people literally copy matches from the internet. Or just wrestle the same match, which to me is a bit of a cop out. Like,
Yeah.
get creative. So yeah, I wrestled her a fair bit, and then after that, Eden from PWA come over to NAW. Wrestled her a bit too. So it was only pretty much a few people that I wrestled for about 5 years. There wasn't really much opportunities to wrestle guys. I mean, at training, I was hitting harder than guys. I was definitely proving myself, I guess you can call
it.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't really start wrestling men till I'm just trying to think. Till Tornado Wrestling come along. It's a 6-sided ring company back in the day. I can't even think. It's pretty early in my career, so the booker gave me the opportunity to wrestle men, which I was happy about because apparently I was too stiff for other females. Which, you know, I still get that now, but I'm like, come on, like seriously, like I don't know what to say to that.
What did they expect? I mean, you got some, you know, sometimes this happens, but everyone can work stiff every now and again. I don't think that they should be worried about it. I reckon they should just embrace it.
But the thing is, back then, that got literally nailed into my brain is you're a female, you want to make them stay in their seats for your match. You don't want them getting up, going to the toilet, getting a drink, getting hot food. You want them to watch your match. So obviously it's safe, right? It's not I wasn't being well, I probably was a little bit dangerous when I first started because I had no one to guide me. But as soon as I had a guide, it was fine. Like stiff is fine if it's done safely.
Yeah.
So I was wrestling the guys and they're like, whoa, I've never had anyone hit me like that before or wrestle me like that before. And from then, that's pretty much when my intergender wrestling career started off. And the last, I'm going to say 3-4 years, even during COVID, I've wrestled more men than women.
Wow. Because obviously now you wrestle in DMDU. I want to know because I've had a couple of people who have done death matches, and I'm still trying to rack my brain about this because yesterday I scrapped a little bit of my knuckle there, and I thought that hurt. I can't imagine me actually doing a death match, and I always wondered what goes into the mind of someone who wants to do a death match. Talk me through it.
Well, for me, I like to mentally prepare myself a few days to a week before and literally visualize myself with what I'm doing, what I'm using, who I'm working with, you know, what's their limits, what's my limits. But when it comes to the actual pain, I don't think about it until I'm in the I'm like, oh, that's right, this is gonna suck. But yeah, everyone's different. Like people always ask me, oh, you know, you love pain, you love pain. No, I don't like pain. Pain sucks. I'm just like you. But to connect with the crowd on a different level is something that they can relate to. Like most people have touched a thumbtack, right? It's shot. Not everyone's taken a power bomb. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's a higher level connecting with the crowd than normal wrestling. They don't expect, if you were to look at me on the street and be like, okay, you wouldn't expect me to be doing that kind of stuff. You wouldn't expect a lot of people to be doing that kind of stuff. So if someone can watch the match, let's just say for 15 minutes, disconnect from their life, whatever's going on, and enjoy themselves in normal wrestling as well, it doesn't have to be deathmatch, that makes me happy. So that's why I do it. But yeah, the pain is real. The injuries are real. I don't know how else to explain it. It is an adrenaline rush as well. You feel more alive than any other time in your life. And it's a good release.
That's fair. It just sounds like you enjoy it. It's fun. the adrenaline, as you said. I'm sorry because like I'm not the type of guy who enjoys deathmatch wrestling. If I'm honest, I've grew up in a household that loved wrestling, and I have a lot of family members who shared me taste from Japan. And I always wondered what's going on with that. But because I've been going to a few DMDU matches, I've seen you over the last few years. I've seen Mad Dog. I've seen a few others do some death matches, including Jordan Sampson. Um, Literally, I'm coming around to it. I'm actually starting to enjoy him now. I'm being, and I
Yeah,
don't like saying this word, but more accepting of that particular style of
yeah.
wrestling.
I mean, deathmatch isn't for everyone. That's fine. Intergender wrestling isn't for everyone. Whatever. Whatever you feel comfortable watching, it's totally fine. If you don't like it, turn it off. That's it. Don't bitch about it or whatever. If you don't like it, simply turn it off. If you enjoy it, great. If you don't, I'm not going to be offended by it. Like, cool, whatever. You do you and I'll do me.
Exactly. Now, the one thing I've always loved about you, like we've talked off camera the last few years, and every now and again, if I see you in a match and you got hurt, I'll message you. That I always remember this one particular incident where you cut the side of your thigh. This is a BCW. I can't really remember which one it was. I remember it was the last one in 2019. And instead of just saying, "Yeah, I'm okay," you sent me a photo of your actual cut, and I went, "What the?"
Well, to be honest, it wasn't my thigh that wasn't bad in that match. It was my armpit. So
Oh,
the light
really?
tube my armpit. I can send you a video later if you like. It's
Yeah,
pretty graphic. Um, the light tube harpooned me in the elbow in the armpit. I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool. I said to the ref, I always say this to the refs before the match. If something's bad, just tell me I'm fine till afterwards because I don't want to know about it. Like I said, I always say, don't stop the match unless I tell you. Otherwise, you're going to piss me off.
fair enough.
So yeah, after that match, come back. I'm like, oh, I've got a bit of a cut on my thigh. I'm like, oh, we'll be all right. I can tape it up. That's fine. Yep, that's cool. I don't need to go to hospital or anything.
Yeah,
So I'm taking my shoulder brace and I lift my armpit up and I'm like, I've got to go to the hospital. I'm going to miss the main event, which is Mad Dog and Sabu in a barbed wire ropes match. I was so pissed off. I was quickly calling up some of my friends. I'm like, do you know how to do stitches? Like, are you available? Like my nurse friends.
yeah.
Like, no, but the equipment. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital because literally, if you got a teddy bear and
Yeah.
ripped its arm off, the stuffing was coming out.
Oh
It was pretty.
no.
So I'm sitting there in the waiting room in the hospital, thinking I'm gonna miss this match because I was first match on.
Yeah.
So I was hoping I would be able to sneak back and catch some of the main event. But unfortunately, I didn't make it out of the hospital till 6 a.m. the next morning. So 12 hours.
Explains why you said, "Hey, have you got any footage of that match?" I went, "Yeah, sure. Give me a few minutes. I'll just quickly edit so I can get it to you quickly." Oh my god, I didn't even realize that it was your armpit as well. That was the pain. So, fuck. You are one amazingly tough woman. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Because if you the way you just explain it, like if that was me, I'm just like, oh god, I'm dying. No, just pull the plug. I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. Like that's my pain tolerance, guys. I'm absolutely terrible when it comes to pain, but you're tough. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
What?
Becomes I guess from my childhood, just having to grow up quick and deal with.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
What has been one of the worst injuries you've had? Because obviously the armpit is one thing, but I'm guessing there may have been something even worse than that.
So, let me just think. The armpit was nothing compared to what I've had. That was just like, eh. um, I've got two. Can I say two?
Oh, go for your life.
So I got knocked out in Adelaide, by the world's smallest wrestler, Luscious Lola. I was on the outside. She gave me a crossbody from the top rope, and I smashed the back of my head on the barricade. Literally
Oh,
cold. Ambulance come ringside. They put the thing on. I've got a picture somewhere. I can send it. I think it's on my MySpace.
mm. Geez, MySpace, is that even still a thing?
Still active for some reason. It's weird.
Hey.
So they put the neck brace on. They wheeled me out, and for some reason, like I woke up, and because I seen it on Raw or something, I did this thumbs up. I'm meant to be a heel. I'm like, why did I do that? I've seen that recently. So I was in hospital and I'm like, I need to get out of here because I'm in Adelaide and I need to go home.
Yeah.
So I signed myself out, which I shouldn't have, which is so stupid with a head injury.
Yeah.
Trust, if anyone gets a head injury, go get checked out. And literally the whole way home, I didn't drive. Someone else was driving. I slept, which you're not meant to do after a
No,
concussion.
definitely not. You're not allowed to sleep.
And after that, for about 6 months, I was a bit brain. And 6 months before that, I had lost my timeline of life, what was going on. So there's that. That was probably the worst injury because it really me up. And I didn't take any breaks from wrestling. I just kept wrestling the week after and the week after and the week after.
Thanks. What were you thinking? What, like I've been, yeah, I know, but like I've had a concussion years ago. I was about 17 when it happened. I got my head slammed in a MMA match, and I think I was off from everything for about at least 3 months because I looked like I know the feeling the feeling of being mind. Literally, I remember I wanted to move my right hand. I was moving my left hand for 3 weeks. It was that bad, and I mean I know that the stigma is you're a wrestler, you gotta go, but God, that's insane.
Yeah, like all up, I've had 12 concussions.
Oh, jeez.
And I was a lot smarter before wrestling. So even now, like if I'm talking, I literally sometimes it's like the wires are crossed in my brain and I can't get my speech out properly. It's a lot better over the years because I haven't had a concussion for probably about 8 years. So that's good.
That's good. That's really good.
But yeah, my advice is if you get a concussion, don't wrestle the week after. Take some time off. But for me at the time, as a female, I didn't want to lose my spot on shows, having matches and whatnot. Like I needed to be out there. I needed to show I was keen. Um, the second injury would probably be my shoulder injury. So I gave someone a Samoan drop. I don't do Samoan drops. I hate the move. But the promoter wanted me to do it I was beat down after the match. And I'm like, can we do something else? I'm like, because I don't like a Samoan drop and I never do it. It's not part of my move. They said, no, we really want it. I'm like, okay. Eventually, I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. The female I was giving it to lied and said they had taken it before. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, do you want to try it before the
Yeah.
spot on the show? No, it's fine. It's fine. And for me, like, I like to try out before it's happening because shit happens, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I gave her the Samoan drop. She clinged on like this. It was an accident, by the way. It was no one to blame. Happens.
Yeah.
Her knee dug in the back of my shoulder, and my shoulder popped out.
Oh.
And I got up, screaming, taunting, and I put it back in. And I'm like, oh, cool, it's back in. I fixed it. And since that day, like I still did ring crew and everything afterwards. I'm like, yeah, it's a bit tender, but it's okay. I told my partner at the time, I think I dislocated my shoulder. And he said, oh, you have to be careful with that because once it comes out, it's going to keep coming out. And I'm like, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Trying to be positive. So for about 6 months after that, it wasn't okay, but I could still work on it. And then the second time it dislocated, I was in a 4-way match and I literally just went to chop someone and it popped out. I said, tag out.
Ooh.
So she tagged in Kellyanne. I'm like, just give me a look. Let's just face off for a minute because I got to get my shoulder back in there. She's like, what? I'm like, don't break character. Just come on. Just stare down. And then I went back in. Okay, it's fine. And I'm like, okay, something's wrong here. So went and got it checked out. Had to get an MRI, which unfortunately I had to wait a bit because I needed the money for an MRI. Got that. Was trying to be positive. I was doing acupuncture. I was doing physio, everything I could possibly do. And when I found out I needed surgery, I was absolutely heartbroken. Absolutely heartbroken. So I still kept wrestling on it. I taped it up. Probably the 13th dislocation. I'm like, no, I can't do it anymore because I can't do my day job.
Mm.
And my day job's pretty physical. I work as a butcher. So yeah, I couldn't lift anything up. As soon as I lift something up, it would pop out. So I was pretty lucky with the guys I were working with. They were helping me out as much as I could. As much as they could, sorry. But yeah, I was on the wait list for 11 months, had the surgery. Then it was another 6 to 8 months before I got back into the ring. But I still went to shows, I still supported everyone, did what I could. But yeah, that mentally, that was probably the worst injury. Like I've been knocked out. I've had barbed wire heated up with fire in my armpit. I've got a huge scar, probably about that big. Yeah, I've had some pretty nasty injuries, but this was even worse than the concussion because I physically could not do anything at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that wasn't fun. So yeah, my advice, if someone's got it, like I'm probably like a nagging mum or something, I don't know. But if someone's got a bit of an injury, I might go get it checked out because you don't want to wrestle on it. It's not worth it. Like wrestling is always going to be here. And that's something that's still not in my brain because I don't want to lose my spot. Like there's been so many times where I've wrestled injured. Like when I wrestled Callan in a few years ago, in a death match, when I gave him the sit out choke slam through the barbed wire net thing. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with that spot.
Yeah, I know a little bit of it.
I literally broke my tailbone.
What?
Yeah. Because I pin dropped, so my ass landed first, but he was fine.
Yeah.
So that's what happened to me is he's fine. I have to find the footage and I'll send it to you. But
Yeah.
I could not walk. I had to sit in an inflatable donut.
Okay.
I couldn't sit properly. I had to sit on my side. Yeah, I couldn't drive properly, but I still wrestled. I just didn't do any sit out moves, which was fine. It was fine. But for me, it was a bit of a test because most of my moves are all sit out moves.
Wow, my God. I
So actually that's 3 injuries, I guess.
Yeah. No, just Oh, I'm never gonna complain I have a sore ass anymore because just hearing that, and if you're still doing a little bit of that stuff and you've got a broken tailbone,
It was really nasty. Like the bruise was massive. It was it's unpleasant. I'm cool. I just can't really hit my finisher on anyone. It was funny because after the spot, I had to hit my finisher twice in the ring.
Yeah.
Oh, why is my finisher a sit out move? But it was fine. I managed through it. It was
Maybe that could have been the time they used the bulldog as the finisher. maybe a little bit. No, but instead of landing on your ass, landing on your knees.
Nah, I'd rather land on my ass than my knees.
Fair enough.
21 years of wrestling.
Oh yeah, your knees would be shot too. Jesus Christ.
I always sit out bulldog. Yeah. My knees aren't too bad, but if I can prevent them from being I will.
Yeah. Oh man. Because you were saying that it was mentally challenging as well, going through all that. What sort of stuff that helped you to get through that? Because obviously, whenever you're injured and you're sidelined for a amount of time, it does play on your mind, and it can be really dire for a lot of people. What was some of the stuff that you were that were helping you through it?
So, what helped me through it was gardening, of all things.
Gardening. So
okay. I would go. I would start collecting succulents and cactuses and start a vegetable garden. Just putting my energy in something else. Because when you're injured in wrestling, it sucks. You hardly hear from anyone. That's just how it is. That's just how it's always been. So whenever I see anyone else injured or something, I always check on them. I always check in every few days because you just feel so lonely.
Yeah.
But for me, besides playing video games, gardening really helped. Which is probably a bit weird, but
I know. I just can't see you in the garden pruning or collecting plants. That's just blew my mind. I don't know how to take that.
If that helps.
Yeah, so they're not cactus is a nice plant. So I like them. I think they're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that really helped me. I have a really supportive partner as well, which was good. So I wasn't able to work, so I took out a loan. Um, yeah, I just played a lot of video games, did gardening when I could. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm just shocked that Vixsin's a gardener.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I thought I was thinking, but wow. Is this it? Is it? Have you ever said that to anybody on another show that you're a gardener?
Nah, but
Okay,
I don't really podcast.
that's a
So,
What If It's Cool exclusive.
I don't think people really want to know about my life and whatnot. I don't know. I just get this in my head. But yeah, no, I haven't told anyone that. Like, obviously, my close friends who's come to my house, but look at this garden, look at all these cactuses. I'm like, yeah,
No, that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, when you said that people don't want to know about your life, I want to know about your life. I think you're one of the most interesting people that I've ever seen in wrestling, and it just and now I can honestly say in life because you go do death matches, you know fly through injuries, and now you're a gardener. That's freaking cool.
thank you. So I had someone very close to me, Erin Dick, say you need to do more podcasts. You need to share your knowledge. And ever since she's told me that, that's stuck in my head. So I'm trying to.
Yeah, I saw. Remember the first time I reached out to you, and your response was, I don't really do podcasts." And I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
all good. I'll get you on here eventually."
Because for me, like back in the day, podcasts were all very generic. Like, what's your favorite color? Who's your favorite? Just very generic questions. After wrestling for so long, no one cares. Well, to me, I don't think anyone cares.
Mm. Well, it's not. I don't think that would be a question I would ever ask. Like, oh, what's your favorite color? What's all this? I mean, I'll ask it for the thumbnail that when I put the show episodes on there, but
Like, yeah,
not that's who gives about colors.
it's just like generic questions. And it's like this is not fun for anyone.
Yeah. I mean, well, if we're gonna go down that right, we'll ask the staple question here. What if it's cool? What is something that you find cool that nobody else does? That's besides gardening.
And no one in wrestling likes, or
Oh, just in general, I'd say. If you want to do both of in general and in wrestling, that'd be all right.
this is a hard one because I'm pretty weird. I like a lot of different things.
I had Nova Nichols on here. She has said that she's the weirdest of everyone and all. So I don't think you can stop that.
We should have a weird off. Me and her.
Oh, I like the way you think. I think I'd maybe get both of you on the show one day. We'll have a weird off and see who's got the weird stuff.
I was just trying to think what I like that no one else likes. It could be a lot of things.
Just share one.
I keep my tomato sauce in the fridge. Not many people do that, I guess. I don't know.
Hang on, because I do that as well. But why do people think that's weird?
Because I've just been taught. I used to be a chef, right?
Yeah.
So always, why is the tomato sauce in the fridge? I'm like, well, I'm not an animal. In wrestling, I can't really think because I'm pretty weird. So, but in wrestling, I really, really enjoy two massive beasts going at it, like Vader and Bam Bam just beat the out of each other.
Yeah.
I really like lucha wrestling, but I guess a lot of people like lucha wrestling. Oh, I think I know.
All right.
So I'm a huge fan of old school Japanese entrance music.
Oh my god!
And
I love you so much for saying that because I do too.
And it's like it's so cool. Like it's just yeah.
Folks, if you ever go back to watching any old Japan, if you can actually find DVDs or videos, some of the music in that is still better than what we get today. Like it is campy, catchy, and just amazing. There's all like some of the things.
You know what you're in for. And it's like, yeah.
Do you remember Ken Shamrock's stuff in Japan? Like that is some really like
I'm a
next
huge
level
fan of
grind, but good.
Japanese wrestling.
Yeah.
Like a huge fan. Yeah.
Oh my god,
But
I
yeah,
got
I'm trying to think what else in wrestling. I can't really. I don't know.
that's all right. We got some cool stuff there that like I wouldn't expect. I mean, I know you're into Japanese stuff, but the old school Japanese entrance music, it's awesome.
Yeah.
um, do you plan to go back to Japan anytime soon, or even go to GCW?
Um, I would like to go to America. Unfortunately, I want to go to Japan first.
Hmm.
Because yeah, um, so I'm hoping probably next year or so head back to Japan.
Hmm.
It just all depends on work because I'm working two jobs at the moment. So it just depends on timing. So yeah, and I've
Yeah.
got get a pet sitter and whatnot. So yeah, it's not like I'm living at home and I can just go whenever I want. I wish I was, but
Hmm.
no. Soon, hopefully. I would like to go to America soon. Especially before I retire, but I'm not going anywhere for a while at least.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because I've always wanted to be in a deathmatch tournament in America. So yeah, hopefully one day.
Well, we've got GCW coming out in August, and well, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be around this time. Maybe get into and know with some people down there, and man, get you over because I think because we got Charlie over there in GCW, right?
Yeah, who
Yeah,
knows? Anything's possible.
yeah. I'd love to see you in a deathmatch tournament over there. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, like I didn't realize how like not popular, but actually people know my name over there until probably 3 years ago
Mm.
when um one of my friends now is like, oh, you're Vixin, blah, blah, blah. Can I get some merch? I'm like, you want merch from me? Like what? Like it was such a weird time in Aussie wrestling, like when nothing was going online, nothing was going on YouTube. So a good chunk of my career hasn't been online, which is
Mm.
so frustrating. I don't know why people want to hoard footage and whatnot. I don't understand. Um, but since Deathmatch have been putting their shows, IWTV and whatnot, I'm getting more popular and people are tweeting and they want me over there, kind of thing.
Mm.
Um, so it's definitely on the bucket list. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, I've always said that my all-time dream match for you would be you versus Awesome Kong, and now unfortunately because Kong's now retired, it probably never happened. But if that ever happens, I reckon I don't care if it's across the world. I will sell my kidney to go over there and watch it because I reckon that is a dream match that I reckon is just going to make a lot of money.
She was definitely a huge inspiration to me back in the day. I have a question for you though. Who
Hmm.
do you want to see me wrestle in a death match? Like worldwide?
Only because he's crazy, and when I met him, was it this? No, it was last WSW. Joey Janela.
Joey Janela?
And I know a lot of people are going to say that's pretty generic. I said no. Let me just explain why. There was a documentary says that was called "Please Don't Die, Joey Janela," and I remember it was my first real introduction to him. And as I finished this, you were the first person that popped in my mind to go, who would I want to see him again? So I was just like, and that's always going to be my answer. There was one other person who I saw from Japan, and they were from the 80s. So I'm just trying to remember her name. What's her name? She was in this exploding.
Like Megami Kudo.
I think so. She was the one with the face paint. Was
Oh
that
no,
you?
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be another dream opponent for me to see with you.
Like,
Mm.
I would love to wrestle Aja Kong.
Yeah, Asha
She's
Khan would be definitely be a good one too.
um like she's still wrestling now. I got to meet her a few years ago in Japan when I was wrestling for Diana. I was
Mm.
like, can I get a picture? She's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, this is so cool.
Oh my god, if you go over there, let's hope that happens. I reckon that'd be really good to see you and Asha
Yeah,
Khan. Mm,
it'd be
definitely.
crazy.
Oh yeah. Uh, want to ask one last question before we finish the interview. Your
I have
drawings.
You got a few more questions. It's fine.
Oh, this is the last one actually. But like your drawings, how did you get into drawing?
So I'm just trying to think. Like, I always loved art and media at high school. I always got into a bit of trouble for painting things I shouldn't be painting, like,
Dick and
a bit of
balls.
controversial. No, oh no, I do that at work because it's funny. I just draw it everywhere. But like when all this stuff in Iraq and whatnot happened back in the day, like I would draw Muslims crying, oh, you can't enter this into the. I'm like, why not? Like it's a political piece. No, it's offensive. Um, Whatever. Like art's for everyone. I've always been creative. And I really enjoy painting and drawing. I wish I
Mm.
could do it as a job, but unfortunately, I can't because I don't know. But no,
Oh,
I've always liked it. I've always like I used to draw a lot of faces, a lot of people, a lot of so I'm a huge hip hop fan.
mm.
I used to draw a lot of like rappers and and hip hop people. Yeah.
All right. This actually prompted another question because I didn't expect you to say hip hop. Because obviously, like with your persona and everything, we naturally think that you're into heavy metal and deathcore and stuff. But rap? Why
Oh
rap?
yeah.
Who's on your playlist for your rap for rap?
So Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, um, Biggie Smalls, Tupac, all the old school, hip hop rap. Um, I do like metal and whatnot. I like all types of music, depends on
Mm,
my mood.
mm.
So my two favorite artists would probably be Eminem and the Beatles.
Very respectful.
But yeah, growing up, it was hip hop and rap was such an in thing. Um, I went to a few concerts and whatnot. For me, it was a great escape because I didn't have the best childhood and whatnot.
Mm.
So put it on, and it would just be a good release, and I would forget about all the going on, and it was just amazing.
Yeah. Oh, well, because we're not far off in age, but we're from that generation where NWA was coming out. Like I will never forget. I'm gonna say 4.5 when the second NWA album came out. Me and my cousin were listening to it, and my grandmother just came in because we're playing it, and she just comes and goes, "Are they saying the N word?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, Nana." He goes, "Okay," and she walked off, and I'm just like, "What's about?" And then my cousin explained to me about the culture and everything, and it's just like, "Oh," and then I started listening to like a Kid and Play, obviously Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff, Naughty by Nature. It was a great time to be alive with rap. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, but now I don't really like the newer stuff now because
Oh,
it's
it
all
sucks. It's absolutely it's so stupid. Like there's no heart and soul in it anymore.
no, like it's just all the same shit. There's nothing that stands out. Like I am a huge fan of Eminem's earlier stuff because his voice is different.
Mm.
I don't mind his stuff, but his voice has changed, obviously, because he's older. Um, it's funny that you mentioned that your relative come in because every time my mum would piss me off, I would go in the room, blast some really offensive rap music. What's this? I'm like, leave me alone. Close the door. Uh, I thought it was funny. And she goes, what are they saying? I'm like, what do you mean? They're not saying anything. There's no swearing in this. Because I was the youngest, I got like a lot of
Oh,
things.
I'll never forget when we played the police and just my nan, God rest her soul, she was mortified by those lyrics. I'm just like, it's a good song,
Yeah,
but you gotta remember I'm 4.5, like I shouldn't be listening to anything like that, but it was
yeah.
awesome. That was a great time to be alive.
It definitely was. Like, and everyone had their unique sounds. They all sounded different.
Hmm.
Um, Now even like in newer music, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older. You know that thing when people get older and all
Yeah,
new
yeah,
music like. But I appreciate good music, but there's just nothing that catches me anymore. Like it's all the same lyrics. It's all the same. Oh, let's alter your voice with this little machine thingy. Um, yeah, it's just
yeah. like like obviously, if audience does follow me on TikTok, I'm always doing the filters and stuff. I might put like a music that's currently trending, but it's all the same generic. It's
Yeah.
I mean, there's a handful of artists that I still like, and I do reaction videos to a lot of music too, and those ones are actually pretty good. But when it comes to rap, a lot of it now is just money, hoes, and killing people.
Bitches.
Like
Yeah.
there's not and I mean no disrespect when I say hoe, but it's just like it's just a common look you see in it. But it's I want more heart and soul in my music, and I'm just not getting that anymore, I don't think.
Like one of my all-time favorite songs is Yellow Brick Road by Eminem
Hmm.
because it's just amazing.
Hmm.
But I think in this day and age, a lot of things are generally the same, especially wrestling. Like you see all these guys, they train one training school worldwide.
Hmm.
They all have the same kind of matches. So I always get told, like, I'm not always watching like the local scene and overseas just to see what's going on. And most of the time I'm bored.
Okay.
Like, just because I seen this guy do the same match three weeks ago, or their last match was the same. So I think I don't know, it's something worldwide, not just with music, it's with everything. But don't get me wrong, there's a lot of cool wrestling out there. You just gotta search for it.
Hmm. Well, you said something at the start of the show where that some people just phoning it in and stuff. I'm not going to name who it was or what promotion it was. I will never forget for 2.5. I might be exaggerating. I'm going to say maybe a month. Um, these two wrestlers had the exact same match for like 4 weeks in a row,
Well,
and it got to the third week where and I was with buddies of mine, and I actually called the entire match. And they're like, "Are
wow.
you? Are you? Did you?" And actually, one of them said, "Did you plan this match out?" I said, "No, this is exactly the same match." And I said to them, I will mouth what they're about to say, and I mouth exactly like at sync what they were saying because they actually said the exact same thing in the exact same spot.
That's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like I've known people to do that, and I've being who I am, I've gone up to them. I'm like, hey, didn't you do this same match last week? Yeah, but we're in a different crowd. I'm like, yeah, but wrestling here is small. And I'm like, but why don't you just get a bit creative and mix things up a bit, or do something different? Oh, I won't be able to remember it. And I'm like, well, okay, well, why don't you just try and wrestle on the fly then? Like train with someone and just try and wrestle on the fly.
Mm.
But yeah, it happened. It's happening more and more, especially with the younger guys. I've noticed, like
Mm.
they get comfortable wrestling with like three different people, and they just have the same kind of matches, like this, literally the same match.
Mm.
Um, so it's funny whenever I wrestle one of these people, and I just like, okay, what do you want to do? And they mention exactly the same spots. This is what I do. This is what I do. This is what I do. I'm like, but okay, why don't we do it this way, or why don't we do it something a bit different? Like you just for me, it's a bit boring to have the same this exactly the same match. Like it's not fun as a wrestler to watch or as a crowd member to watch. So I always say, well, why don't we put something in there that people won't expect? Like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, how about tonight I dive on you? No one's going to expect that. And they
Mm.
go, oh, okay. And I'm like, do you do a dive? Do you do? Oh, I have before, but I haven't for a while. I'm like, do you want to dive? Like, yeah, yeah, but I just don't feel comfortable. I'm like, if you don't feel comfortable, it's fine. We'll do something else. That's easy. But yeah, I try and push people a little bit to their limits, especially when I was younger. I'm like, let's just do this, this, and this. Let's see how we go.
Mm.
I can remember there was one time that I wrestled Kellyanne when we had a thumbtack match. But I don't know, someone from another state got involved. They didn't want to doing it. I'm like, you're your own person. You do whatever you want. If you don't want to do it, don't. If you do, sure, do it. Because but they're worried I'm too young. I'm like, well, there's wrestlers like Mad Dog. He had his first death match at 16. I had my first death match at 17. Like, it's up to you.
Are
Like,
you allowed to do that at that young age? I thought you had to be 18 to do a death match.
who says that?
Huh? I thought it was like a unspoken rule.
Nah, no.
Okay.
So um, so we didn't end up having that thumbtack match, but a few months go by, and we had a intergender death match. It was for a private function. It's online. It was me and Mad Dog versus Ryan Rollins and Kellyanne. And I'm like, did you cop any heat or anything from this particular trainer in Sydney or anything? Like, no, not really. And I'm like, you have, at the end of the day, you're your own person. For so many years in wrestling, I got told I couldn't do a certain style. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. I can't wear that. Someone else has got their hair this color. Just have fun. Do what you want. Like, if it's bad, then you deal with it. Like, not I mean if the wrestling's bad. If it's like a bad situation that you wish you shouldn't have got yourself into, you learn from it.
Mm.
It was pretty funny. I'm like, if you don't want to do it, you can just tell me you don't want to do it. You don't, whatever. But they wanted to do it, so
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I'm so happy now. I'll be able to afford my mum a nice birthday present. It's funny. It's funny how wrestling works.
Wow. Just hearing this from a veteran, I'm just like, it's I just didn't expect that. It's like I
So
thought.
many. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like, I feel like I think as a fan, you naturally would actually think that it's all rainbows and kittens and all that stuff. In reality, there is a dark side sometimes to it, and you have to rise above it. And at the end of the day, like, you have to be your own person to do a lot of things. Because I think, especially with some people that I've met, they just listen to what they've been told to do and not have a say in anything. You know what I mean? And it sounds like you more affirmative that you just do what you need to do.
Well, back in the day, I just did what I was told. Like, dress a certain way, wrestle a certain way, um, interact with these people this kind of way, because I didn't want to lose my spot. Like, there was hardly any spots back then.
Mm.
So I dressed a certain way. I wrestled. Like, if you watch old matches of me, you're like, what the are you doing? Like, it's not me at all.
Mm.
And you can tell if you look deep, like, I didn't look comfortable doing what I was doing. Like, just lots of flippy, just a totally different style to what I am more comfortable doing and enjoy. And then it was funny because I can't even remember who I wrestled. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do this, this, and this. And because they were newer, they're like, yeah, let's practice it and then let's do it. So they agreed to do it, which was cool. Like, I'm talking stuff now, you don't even blink an eye at, like, but okay, cool. I'm talking about suplexes, power bombs, chops, forearms. I couldn't do any of that stuff when I first started. I wasn't allowed to. And now it's just like generic. Like,
Mm.
oh, cool, German. Like, yeah, but it was such a big deal back in the day for a female to do any of those moves. So I guess I'm really glad that back then I stood up for myself and just started doing it, because now it's just like it's the normal, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you stuck to your guns, you fought for what you believed in. Um and just the stories that you've told me today.
So there
Yeah.
was other females wanting to do it as well.
Mm.
And I thought, let's just do it. If they say anything, oh well, we lose out on a booking. This is when I grew some balls when I was a bit older in wrestling.
Yeah.
And I didn't lose bookings, I got more bookings. So yeah.
Well, kudos for you for doing that. I would never want to be on the back end of all that, because I've seen how you've hit people. I don't want to be at the end of that, because I'm terrified of you. I generally am.
Funny story about that, if I can mention. So the first time I trained with Kellyanne was at Alpha Pro Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
We're just doing basic drills and then we come to doing clothesline drills. And I've never seen anyone look so mortified. I said, I'm not going to kill you. We're at training.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a clothesline.
Mm.
And she was petrified. She was only young. Like, she started training when she was 16. So she was young. This is probably when she was 17.
Mm.
And since this day, I've never known anyone to be so petrified of me. Like, I've wrestled her heaps and whatnot now, like in the past. It's
Mm.
fine. Like, we gel together really well. But it's funny how people can take my onstage persona in real life. Like, it's fine if you want to keep it that way. Like, if you don't want to break the magic, I'm all about that. You do what you want to do. But I'm no different to you. Like, I'm no different to you sitting over there. We're the same. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird that people think that I'm intimidating or I'm scary or whatnot. Like, that always makes me laugh. It's like, it's me. Like it's funny.
I know. It's just, but
Like,
you also got to put myself in my shoes because, like, I've been seeing you since I was in my early 20s, and I've always seen you as being very strong, very dominating, and I have seen you bloody people up, and I'm just like, I don't want to get on her bad side. I never want to do that.
for me, my character Vixsin is just me times by 1,000. But it's just funny how other wrestlers think that as well. Like, it's fine for the crowd to think that and whatever, but people I literally work with, it's funny because oh no, she's gonna kill me. Like, sometimes I stir up people because it's funny.
Yeah.
But that, and I can tell later I'm just joking, and they're like, oh yeah. And then, but it for a while there, I was told I was going to be blacklisted from Japan and blacklisted from this company and that company, and I'm like, it's a character, right? Like, it's a character, for sakes.
Yeah. God, I love wrestling. Vixsin, where can we find you on all your socials?
So Instagram is Vixsin86, Twitter's the same, and Facebook is the same.
Beautiful. All right. Vixsin, I want to firstly thank you for being part of the show. I know it's taken us ages to get you on here, but I do appreciate you taking your time out of your time. And yeah, I see this other side of you, and I'm less scared, but I'll be quite honest, I'm still scared a little bit, just a little bit. But thank you so much for being real with me and allowing me to tell your story today.
That's what I'm all about. I'll be real. If you don't like it, whatever. Love me, hate me, take me for who I am, whatever. I'm not here. I hate fake people. I will never put on a fake face for someone for any reason. So, yeah, take it or leave it. This is just me.
Well, Vixsin, thank you for being part of What If It's Cool.
Thank you. Bye.
And that's the end of that episode. Want to be featured on What If It's Cool, or know someone who has an interesting story that needs to be told? Reach out to me. I can be reached on whatifitscoolbusiness@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Want more from What If It's Cool? Make sure to check out the YouTube channel where you can find the latest episodes of mukbanging around, reaction, and of course the podcast. And don't forget to follow What If It's Cool on all socials. It can be found at What If It's Cool. Keep that support coming. And until next time, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.